It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Perez, Bottas, Lando Norris, and Gasly, Sainz, Vettel, Fernando Alonso, and Daniel Ricciardo, Stroll, Ocon, Charles Leclerc, and Tsunoda, Raikkonen, Russell, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Mick Schumacher, Latifi, and Nikita Mazepin. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's...
Here we are in Azerbaijan, revving up to 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go. A long wait for the lights to go, and Hamilton gets off well. Perez gets off well. Hamilton doesn't actually get off that well because Max Verstappen goes down the inside of turn 1 as does Sergio Perez. Hamilton taking a very wide entry because he doesn't want to make any contact, but then nearly hits Sergio Perez. Verstappen takes the lead here in Azerbaijan. Now around the outside comes Lando Norris. Lando Norris moves himself up to 4th place. Can he get in front of Valtteri Bottas? Just about. Yes, he can. He's going to go very defensive here. Bottas trying to go down the inside. Here they come into the next corner. Norris defends brilliantly. Lando Norris, he moves up into 4th place in front of Valtteri Bottas. Great stuff from Lando Norris. As Pierre Gasly is in 6th, Sainz in a brilliant 7th, Leclerc in disappointing 13th place. And Latifi there battling the Haas. But anyways, back at the front, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, Norris, and Bottas to round off the top 5. And Bottas coming under threat here from Pierre Gasly, it seems. He's closer to Gasly than he is to Norris. So that's very interesting from Bottas. He's going to want to do a little bit better in this race. But either way, look at the front there, because Max Verstappen is now pulled out of DRS here on the first lap of the race. And that is incredible to see. Verstappen really pushing at the start of this race, because Hamilton was the one who had the very, very quick qualifying. But unfortunately, it seems in the race here, he's struggling a little bit. Yuki Tsunoda down 14th, where his teammate was up at 6th place. So that's a little bit disappointing from Tsunoda. I just noticed that now. But anyways, here we are on board with Sergio Perez. Can Perez have a go at Hamilton? He's only 4/10ths back on Hamilton. You know, Perez is usually very strong here in Baku. He's gotten 2 podiums here, I believe, which is very impressive because he got those podiums in cars that were not very good. But Hamilton now, look at that, through turn 1 on the straight there. It looks like the Mercedes power unit is very, very quick. They did come with upgrades this weekend for that engine, and they're clearly showing here, and Hamilton's probably running maybe a little bit less downforce than Verstappen, because look at that, he's gaining more time on the straight here, and he's actually closer to Max than he is to Perez. So that just shows how much straight line speed that Mercedes has this weekend and how hard Hamilton is pushing to retake that lead after he still has not won a race this season. In fact, Alpine have more wins than Mercedes this season, which is crazy to think, but Hamilton really needs to take a race win here, and if he does take the race win, he will also have the lead in the World Championship. So he's really going to want to do that. Norris there doing brilliantly. He's pulling a big gap on Bottas, in 2.3 seconds behind Lando Norris. Maybe Bottas has minor damage or something. I don't know what's going on with Bottas, because now he's under threat from Pierre Gasly here. Daniel Ricciardo down at P10, not an amazing performance, it has to be said. He's behind both Aston Martins, who are doing a very, very good job here. It has to be said. Now they go down this straight, and we see Hamilton. We look back a sec for we see Mazepin's actually right at the back of Schumacher, but now Hamilton he's actually out of DRS of Verstappen, so he's struggling in that second sector. It looks like that Red Bull very quick in the corners, Mercedes very quick in a straight line, because now Hamilton is again under threat from Sergio Perez, and of course DRS doesn't get activated until next lap, but that doesn't matter because Hamilton is still outside the DRS, and here comes Sergio Perez. Perez is actually going to go for it on Lewis Hamilton. He was close enough. Here comes Sergio Perez down the inside of turn 1. Who's going to brake later? It's going to be Hamilton around the outside. Lewis Hamilton, great defending, very late on the brakes. And now that's going to put Norris right on the back of Perez and Hamilton. Look at that, through sector 1, he's absolutely flying, because despite battling Perez into turn 1, he's caught up to Verstappen through the first 2 corners. It's incredible. Now flying through the quick left-hander, losing the back end, nearly hitting the wall there. Great driving from Hamilton to keep the car under control. You can see how hard he's pushing. I've never seen him push this hard here at Baku, but But he needs to see if he can win this race now. And again, you see how close he gets there, but then he just loses a lot of time in that second sector. If he can stay in that DRS, that would be great for him, because then he can overtake Verstappen, probably. Unless he's, I guess, 8/10ths back. If he's more than 8/10ths back, I don't imagine he will be able to overtake Verstappen with DRS. Unless he makes some stellar move under braking. Or maybe he will, we'll see. Anyways, he's on the back of Verstappen, and more interestingly, he has not lost that much time to Verstappen. He's only 7/10ths back now. So he's kept up through the second sector. He's really going full out hammer time here. He's right on the back of Max. He's right on the back of him. He's really trying to push. And you can see he's taking a lot more... he's using all the track on entry and exit there, so he's definitely gained a lot of time through this final sector now. He's only 4/10ths back on Verstappen, and DRS is active this lap. Norris 7/10ths back on Sergio Perez. Could Norris potentially take a podium here in Baku? That would be absolutely stunning, because look at that. Look at the gap he's got to Bottas, 4.3 seconds now. He's pulling a consistent 2 seconds a lap on Bottas, which is absolutely outrageous. Gasly's going to overtake Bottas as well here. Hamilton has a look at Verstappen, but despite being 7/10ths back, no, I think 6/10ths back at the start of the straight, he was not able to overtake him as Pierre Gasly goes around the outside of Valtteri Bottas and goes up into a top 5 position. I don't know what's going on with Valtteri Bottas now, but he's definitely got some kind of problem here, whether it be damage or an engine issue. But here comes Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen goes defensive. Hamilton goes to the outside. Verstappen breaks later. Hamilton's going to get the better exit. Hamilton's right on the back of him. Hamilton could have a look down the inside. No, he holds back. Great racing between these two. So yeah, Hamilton, he was relatively close coming to the DRS straight. So I don't know why he wasn't able to overtake Verstappen, but he just wasn't, and now he's going to drop 6/10ths back. Does he need to be less than 5/10ths behind Verstappen to overtake him? That would be very surprising. If that's true, maybe Verstappen was using a lot of energy on the straight. Who knows? As Norris is also on the back of Perez. Perez is out of DRS of Hamilton. Ricciardo is still behind the two Aston Martins, as there's a bit of a train developing here because of Valtteri Bottas. Not to mention, Bottas has now lost a second to Gasly, and he's really struggling. Surely he has some kind of problem here, because he's lost a second in not even one lap to Pierre Gasly, and he's got Carlos Sainz all over the back of him. Will Sainz be able to overtake him on the straight? Let's find out as we look further up the road. Hamilton 6/10ths back now. It looks like it's a little bit far back, but is he going to go for it anyways? You know, he's definitely closing up with the slipstream. He's definitely using all of that Mercedes power. 4/10ths now. He's got the DRS open. They go down the straight. No, Hamilton has DRS open, but that's because he was coming into the pits. Norris right on the back of Perez there. So Hamilton is going for the undercut. Here comes Carlos Sainz. Sainz comes into the pits on Bottas, but there, well, right before he made an overtake on Bottas, but yes, Hamilton is going for the undercut here, as is Perez. So I'm not too sure why Perez has been giving preferential treatment over Verstappen yet again, but he has, and it's cost Verstappen. It could potentially cost Verstappen the lead of the race, because Hamilton will come up behind. Although in the past we have seen the undercut doesn't always work here in Baku, because it's so difficult to heat up those tires in the first sector that the overcut ends up being the way to go. Stroll in P3 at the moment, because a lot of people who were in front of him have come into the pits, including his teammates. So it's Verstappen followed by Bottas, who's 9.5 seconds behind him already here on lap 5. Not to mention Stroll is on the back of him, as is Ricciardo. Ocon has a bit of a gap to these guys, and Leclerc is obviously trying to get past Ocon, as he wants to catch up to his teammate, who definitely started much further up the road, and yeah, he's just driven a lot better. We were on board with Danny Rick on the back of Stroll here, as Bottas has now lost more time to Verstappen, 10.3 seconds now on the coming into the final sector of lap 5. And Stroll only 2/10ths behind Bottas here. He's very close. He's trying to give it everything. I don't know what's going on with Bottas, but it's very unfortunate, because you know, his championship was not looking very likely before, but now it's looking even less likely. As here's Sergio Perez, who's right, he is just overtaken Latifi, and he's in a battle with Norris. Hamilton now on the back of Antonio Giovinazzi. I don't know what tire Giovinazzi's on, but Hamilton is all over the back of him, and he is on fresh tires, so he's going to get past him probably pretty quickly as Giovinazzi comes into the pits, I believe. Yes, he does. Now Hamilton's on the back of Kimi Räikkönen. Will he go for it? No, he's definitely too far back. And as he flies through turn 1, look at that, now he's going to go right up to the back of Kimi. Coming into turn 2, he's gained a lot of time in that first sector, and more importantly, he has overtaken Max Verstappen with the undercut. Verstappen 1.4 seconds behind, and he is not going to be happy about that. But Verstappen does have the advantage in terms of the tires. He's got tires that are going to be 1 lap fresher. That is a pretty big advantage. So we're going to have to see if he can use that advantage and get past Hamilton, because more importantly, Hamilton is getting stuck behind Kimi, and of course Red Bull might have been just concerned about that traffic. They didn't want Max to get damaged, or they thought the traffic was going to hold them up more than help them. And as you can see, it seems to be holding Hamilton up, because he just cannot find a way past Kimi Räikkönen. Here in Baku, this is the part of the track where it's so difficult to overtake, and it's allowed Verstappen to close right up to the back of him, and he's on those fresher tires. So now Verstappen, this is his chance on the start-finish straight. Is he going to be able to overtake Hamilton? Because Hamilton's also going to have DRS. Look at that, Hamilton is struggling through Sector 2 to the point where Verstappen is nearly pushing him on the straight here. He's right at the back of him. Verstappen goes for it around the outside. Hamilton has to take a defensive line. Hamilton is losing time to Kimi here in that part of the track, because he's partially battling Verstappen. But now look at that, he's getting up more time through the final corner, and now he's really pushing down the straight. He's going to have DRS, as is Verstappen, who is going to come out at the end of the straight in front. I think it'll be Hamilton. But Verstappen, he's going to have that slipstream. Kimi Räikkönen going right up to the inside of the wall. Here they go down the straight. Verstappen going to build that slipstream. Hamilton goes to the outside. Sorry, to the inside. Now they're going to go 3 wide. Verstappen on the back of Hamilton. Verstappen making the overtake. Kimi doesn't pit. Verstappen's coming to the outside. Hamilton, Verstappen into turn 1. Hamilton late braking. Stays in front. Great driving from Lewis Hamilton. Look at that. He's gained time through turn 1. Very good under braking by Lewis Hamilton into turn 1. Kimi Räikkönen, on the other hand, has lost 2 places on the start-finish straight, as he just, of course, he had a tire disadvantage. I believe he's on the mediums. There are yellow flags in this sector for Esteban Ocon, who has, unfortunately, DNF'd due to a mechanical problem with his Alpine car. But now, this is very important, because Verstappen is going to have that DRS. He's going to be in Hamilton's toe for a little bit here, and given Verstappen has been pretty much quicker through that second sector, let's see with the dirty air if he can stay with Hamilton in the second sector, because if he can, he will most probably, get in front on the start-finish straight, as they've also pulled out 1.6 seconds on Kimi Räikkönen, who's 3/10 in front of Perez, and Norris is only half a second behind Perez here. So can Norris potentially pick up a surprise podium now on the back of Hamilton? Look at that. Verstappen's already gonna potentially go for, yes he is. No, he's a look. Verstappen's on the inside. Hamilton's on the outside. Verstappen has to back off there. Verstappen's nearly pushing Hamilton through this part of the track. The Red Bull, or at least Verstappen, seems to be much stronger than Hamilton in that Mercedes through that part of the track, and that's very surprising. That Hamilton's struggling so much there. Is Hamilton losing all the track there, nearly hits the wall. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Hamilton. But now look at that, Verstappen's right on the back of him. Surely he'll get past. Unless Hamilton can somehow stop him. No, it doesn't look that way. Because now they go down the straight. And they go side by side. Verstappen has DRS open. Verstappen gets in front. Verstappen's on the inside. Verstappen takes the lead here in Baku, but Hamilton takes a very wide entry. Look at that, nearly goes into the back of Verstappen. Has a look to the inside of turn 2. No, it doesn't go for it. Tucks in behind, because now onto this next DRS straight. It's Hamilton who's going to have DRS, I believe. No, it's not, because they came across the DRS line pretty much evenly matched. So Hamilton is not going to have DRS, but he's going to have slipstream. Lando Norris moves up into 3rd place. Hamilton takes the lead. Norris in front of Perez, but Perez is coming back at him into turn 3. Sergio Perez around the outside, Norris on the inside. Sergio Perez goes back around the outside of Lando Norris, and he squeezes him nearly into the wall before Norris has to back off there, as they're both battling Kimi Räikkönen. And Verstappen gets way overtaken by Lewis Hamilton on that second start-finish straight there. Norris nearly into a podium position. Daniel Ricciardo's teammate has overtaken Lance Stroll, and I believe, no, that's just it, because now he's up into 9th place. And Bottas, you can see, has just lost so much ground. He's absolutely struggling here, but Hamilton as well seems to be struggling a little bit through this sector of the track, as Verstappen is going to close that gap back down, and he's going to have DRS, he's going to have slipstream. He is probably going to get in front, but the problem here for Verstappen is that Hamilton's going to have the DRS for the next straight. So that's just, it's like a back and forth situation. It really does depend on how these two drivers attack and defend, and how much battery they want to use, and it's brilliant to watch. And to see these two incredibly talented drivers go head to head. Now they go down the straight. Verstappen is actually 9/10 down, so actually I don't think he's going to be able to overtake Hamilton. No, it looks like he's a bit too far back. It's only 8/10 now, and that's very interesting here. Here comes Lando Norris. Is Norris going to have a go on Sergio Perez? He's on the back of him, a tenth of a second now. He goes to the outside, big squeeze by Perez into turn one, late braking by Sergio Perez. Down the inside, round the outside comes Lando Norris. Norris into third place. Perez has to back off, but now Perez is going to have DRS for the next straight. Further up, we know, now we see Kimi Räikkönen finally coming to the pits here as Alonso and Stroll battling. We see the Aston Martin seems to be a little bit quicker for this weekend. They also got some upgrades this weekend, and Stroll's on the outside. Lando Norris is in third place. He's holding third place, and yes, he is going to have third place. Stroll and Alonso side by side. Neither of them have DRS. Who's going to break later into turn 3? It's going to be Stroll on the outside. Oh, yes, as Alonso has to back off because he nearly spins around, as Charles Leclerc was down in 13th place is now up into 11th place, as now he's looking his way to make looking to try and make his way up into those points, as his teammate is way up there in 6th place. More importantly, for the lead of the race here, Hamilton seems to be pulling a bit of a gap here, as he pulled quite the gap before the start finish straight and allowed him to stay in front. And then on the second DRS straight, Verstappen still couldn't overtake Hamilton. So Verstappen 8/10 down on Hamilton, 7/10 now, gained a bit of time through that corner, and it's looking very unlikely that Verstappen's gonna be able to make this overtake on the start finish straight here, as he's again 9/10 down. Is he gonna drop below a second? Yes, he is. For a brief second, he is still gonna have DRS, but it doesn't. That still shows that how much the Red Bull is struggling here in Baku, and or at least how much Verstappen is struggling at this stage of the race. I was expecting him to be quicker as he's on the fresher tires, but Hamilton seems to be the one who's able to extract more out of those tires as Verstappen closes the gap up to 4/10. Here comes Sergio Perez looking to retake that podium away from Lando Norris. Norris having absolutely none of it at the moment. We know how quick the McLaren is in a straight line, and there goes Daniel Ricciardo on Sebastian Vettel. Ricciardo moves himself up into 7th place, so you can see the McLaren's making some brilliant progress here in Baku. It's great to see, but is Vettel going to come back at him now on the next DRS straight, not the start finish straight, but now we see back Verstappen still a bit further back, as Perez and Norris are still going at it. Norris brilliant defending to stay in front of Perez. Pierre Gasly 4 seconds down on these guys after his battle with Bottas, and Sainz has caught up to Gasly and is looking to take a top 5 position here, which would be brilliant for Ferrari. Here in Baku, that would be absolutely astonishing if they could take a top 5 place, but also even more astonishing for AlphaTauri, who probably did not expect to be this high up the field. Especially look at where Tsunoda is. It seems like Gasly is really getting the most out of the car this weekend. And now Verstappen, no more interestingly, is only half a second down on Hamilton. He's now pushing now. Looks like Hamilton is no longer able to push as hard as he was earlier in this race. Now Hamilton staying in front. Is Hamilton gonna win this race? Is it gonna be Verstappen who wins the race? Verstappen is closing that gap. It's only 6/10 now. Is that gonna be enough to overtake Hamilton on the start finish straight? I'm not too sure, but look at that. He's gaining more and more time in the tow, in the slipstream. Now look at that. He's only 4/10 down. Hamilton weaving around a little bit, trying to get out of that slipstream, but it's not really going to work. He's already moved twice on the straight, I believe. Now Hamilton is going to go defensive. Verstappen so fakes one way, goes the other way, and here he goes around the outside, and he sold Hamilton a dummy. Brilliant overtake from Max Verstappen, as Hamilton has to tuck in behind. So Lewis Hamilton drops down to 2nd place here. I really did not expect that with his earlier race pace, as Norris and Perez are still battling. Ricciardo and Vettel are still somewhat battling, as Ricciardo is clearly pulling away. Bottas is out of the points, and he's just having one of the worst weekends of his career here. It's very unfortunate to see, as here comes Verstappen and Hamilton. Hamilton goes for it around the outside, and that's going to give him the lead of the race again. He goes around the outside of turn 3. Brilliant stuff by Lewis Hamilton to retake the lead of the race here. It's an amazing battle for the lead here in Baku. I have no idea who's going to win the race, but whoever wins this race will lead the championship, and that's why it's so crucial to win here in Baku. Hamilton still hasn't gotten his first win. Verstappen has 3 wins already this season, but he also has a mechanical DNF, so that's very unfortunate for him. Hamilton only half a second in front of Verstappen here. Norris 6.6 seconds behind Verstappen, so he will most probably not be a threat, but more importantly, he's actually pulling away from Sergio Perez, who's just full 7/10 down on Norris, and could Norris pick up a podium. That is looking more and more likely as this race progresses. Hamilton going very wide at the final corner. We know he likes to really push the limits through that final corner, but Verstappen only half a second down now. He's really giving it everything. 4 tenths down now. Is he going to be able to overtake Hamilton? I think he most certainly will, as now it's 3 tenths, 2 tenths, and it's going to become 0 tenths pretty soon. As now Verstappen pulls to the inside, Hamilton gonna squeeze him. It's not going to be enough because Verstappen's going to be in front by turn 1. Verstappen has to take a bit of a tighter line through 1, but Verstappen takes the lead. The fans cheers. Verstappen takes the lead, but Hamilton not quite finished yet. He's coming into turn 2, late braking by Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen pinches him on the apex, so Verstappen's the one with the better exit out of the corner. Hamilton has to back off a little bit. Now Hamilton's coming back at him with the DRS into turn 3. He's going to go for it around the outside. Is Hamilton going to take the lead of the race? Yes, he is. He's actually going to go defensive. Verstappen's going to have a look around the outside. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. An incredible battle for the lead of the race here. Never thought I'd see such an incredible battle for the lead between these two, but I'm hoping to see more and more. It's incredible to watch here. Verstappen taking a wider entry into the right-hander. Hamilton trying to defend into this next tight corner. We know Verstappen likes to go for those ballsy overtakes, and you never know with Max. He can literally overtake you at any point in the track, even if it doesn't seem like an overtaking opportunity. 4 tenths down now is Verstappen. This is a problem for Hamilton because he just can't pull away now through these through this set of corners, and now it's 4 tenths. That's going to allow Verstappen to stay right behind him and then pick up that DRS again. Oh no, what is going to be the final lap of the race? The gap is now 4 tenths. Hamilton has let him through. Hamilton has let him through on the second last lap of the race, which is going to become the final lap. Very interesting tactics by Lewis Hamilton. Is that going to give him the DRS and with the race win? Who knows? But he's right behind Verstappen, only 3 tenths now. And yes, it's looking very likely that that tactic has worked, so that Hamilton is going to have the lead, but he's going to have to watch out because the next DRS straight between turns 2 and 3 is going to be difficult for Hamilton, but Hamilton goes to the outside of turn 1. Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the race with some brilliant tactical driving, and there Verstappen and Hamilton nearly come together. Verstappen having a look down the inside. Verstappen doesn't go for it as Hamilton turns in a little bit earlier to try and defend, but now this is what I was talking about before. Hamilton's going to have a problem down the straight because Verstappen is the one with the DRS. Hamilton is going to go to the inside to defend. Verstappen's going to go to the outside. Who's going to break later into the corner? It's going to be Hamilton. It's going to be Verstappen. Still trying to hold it around the outside. Not quite Hamilton. Very late on the brakes there. And we've seen it every single year. Hamilton will not be overtaken in such a manner. We've seen it even since his rookie season with Fernando Alonso. Alonso tried around the outside in Indianapolis. It did not quite work, and it seems nothing has changed for Lewis Hamilton as he still holds the lead of the race. But this battling is allowing Norris to close up a little bit, but not quite enough to win this race, as I doubt he's going to gain 4 tenths with only 1 sector and a half to go. Perez is still only 6 tenths behind Gasly, and now Ricciardo has overtaken Carlos Sainz. Danny Rick has moved himself up into 6th place. Brilliant driving from Ricciardo, brilliant race, but anyways, back to the front. Here we have Verstappen on the back of Hamilton. Verstappen very, very close to the wall there. He's really giving it everything. Hamilton takes a wide entry. Now, this is the big question because Verstappen is quite close. He is going to have the toe. He is going to have DRS. Can Max Verstappen win here in Baku? They go through the final corners completely flat out. Verstappen's in the toe. Verstappen's trying to get that slipstream. He's trying to get that DRS. He's gonna have that DRS. I believe it's just been activated. Yes, now it has. Now Verstappen on the back of Hamilton. Is he gonna get Hamilton at the line? They're gonna go side by side. It's gonna be Lewis Hamilton by 0.031 seconds. Who wins here in Baku? Brilliant drive by Lewis Hamilton, and with it, he takes the lead of the championship.
Then it's victory in Azerbaijan. Great work from the whole team here at the track and back at the factory as well. And some pretty handy driving for good measure. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport. And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations.
A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. After an incredible performance, Lewis Hamilton secures the top spot in the Drivers' Championship. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Daniel Ricciardo certainly impressed me today, an incredible performance.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Red Bull pull further ahead in the standings. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.